This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by soon-to-be world title challenger Jack Massey over Zoom. Jack, how are you doing? How's life treating you?
I'm all good, mate. Yeah, really, really well. Life's going good. Yeah, big year. Um, it's been a very busy year. We got the win over Isaac Chamberlain for the European and Commonwealth title. We got married a couple of weeks ago, and now we're here in training camp for a world title against Jai Opetaia. So yeah, everything's going really well.
I imagine your wife was insistent, no sparring in the build-up to the wedding.
No sparring to the build up, but no black eyes and all that. But yeah, it's uh, it's all going good now.
Jack, I don't know if I've just happened to miss it or not, but I haven't really seen much from yourself since the fight was announced. I imagine you've obviously been deep in camp, just concentrating on what is a life-changing opportunity for yourself. Um, how does it feel to be here now, to come back from those defeats in your career and to be ready for this fight against the man who many consider the best in the division?
Oh, it feels amazing. It's a crazy feeling, and it only sort of sank in sort of properly after the wedding because all the build up to that it was sort of like yeah, it was. I was just laying in bed, and it's in the morning. I woke up and it was just like I'm fighting for a world title in 7 weeks or whatever, and yeah, it properly sank in then, and it's amazing. It's an opportunity that it's life changing. It's massively life changing, and that's what it's all about. And I've got a family to look after now, and a little girl, and that's what it's all about for me. And it's we've got this massive opportunity here, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be going over there fighting in Saudi. Fighting overseas for the first time, and on a great card, and over in Saudi. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, everybody certainly in the UK knows to expect with yourself. You're tough, you're game, you will go in there and you'll do your absolute best to try and win. Obviously, that performance against Isaac Chamberlain was a brilliant one. And going into that fight, you were seen as kind of an underdog, really. Going into this one, it's the same again, but just a higher level. What do you make of those who currently are not giving you a chance at all against Joy?
Well, people have done it before. People have said when I come up against Parker, I'm getting stopped in 2 rounds, 4 rounds, or whatever. Um, and with the Chamberlain fight, I was a bit of an underdog on that, and got a unanimous decision, and not the best Jack Massey as well in the ring on the night. So um, so yeah, people are gonna say this and that, but we'll you can only see on the night. So it's that's it. I'll show them on the night.
I know on Joy's behalf, he was looking at, the likes of Chris Billam-Smith, Zerdo Ramirez. He wanted to try and unify, and those fights are still kind of a priority for him. I did an interview with him maybe 3, 4 weeks ago where he mentioned that as well, and your name at the time wasn't being mentioned. Uh, how quickly did things progress on that front? Because he did say no matter what, he wanted to fight in October.
Listen, it progressed very very fast, and I knew it would do because we both like to fight. We're both not shy of a fight, and we're both not shy of turning away. We don't turn fights down, and that's why I knew it'd be so easily made. If people are dragging their feet or whatever, then he just wants to get in there and fight and stay in the ring and keep busy and keep fighting. So I knew it would be easily made.
Stylistically, how do you anticipate the pair of you matching up, and what do you feel like you have to do to navigate this fight with Joy, obviously a southpaw as well?
Listen, it's a very very tough fight. First southpaw, coming across in my professional career. But I've got Joe in my corner. I've got a good corner team, and we're working on things in camp, and we've got a great game plan. And he's he's a very very tough opponent, and we've got a really really tough night ahead of us. But I'm very confident in going there and beating this guy. I'm not turning up for no paydays. I mean, people know that anyway. I've said it in the past with the Parker fight, and it's we've got a game plan, and he is the best, I believe, in the cruiserweight division. I think he's at the top. He is the best of the bunch, and I'm there to prove myself. And there's no pressure on my side. And he's a good fighter, but he's shown a few little leaks here and there with the last Breeders fight. And I come on strong. I'm a good 12 round fighter. And I come on strong towards the end, and I think that's what's going to be in my favour.
That was leading very nicely into my next question. Obviously, we've seen with Jai, especially in both Breedy's fights towards the stretch, he can somewhat slow down a little bit. Is that not necessarily something you're banking on, but something which certainly
No,
it's in your mind that if it kind of goes that way, you could come on strong towards the end?
yeah, definitely. But obviously different opponents, different fights, different styles. It always, it doesn't always work out that way. So you go in there with a game plan, and sometimes game plans can change. You know, halfway through the fight or the beginning of the fight. So we can only see on the night, and I'm really looking forward to it and showing people what I'm really about. And I kind of showed a little bit of that in the last fight, but wasn't really. Preparation wasn't great. Timing wasn't really. We didn't have long to prepare, and a few mistakes here and there. But it's great that I've got a good 12 rounds under my belt. I'm not going into this fight with a year out of gym or a year out of the ring, sorry, or 6 months out of the ring. I'm going into this fight with a good solid 12 rounds under my belt, and I'm very confident.
Again, with Jai, we've seen that he can do rather, whether he likes is another question, but um, get dragged into a bit more of kind of a firefight, if you will, especially with the Breedis fights. With yourself, is that something which has kind of come up as maybe a way to make him feel a bit uncomfortable, or do you feel like that would play into his hands if it was to go in that direction?
So we'll see on the night. I think he does like to get in a fight, and sometimes it showed in the last fight he kind of loads up a little bit too much sometimes, and I think that's why he sort of tied off in the back end of the fight because he was looking for that knockout and he was loading up and he was putting everything into his shots, and that's when sort of he let Breedis come into the fight, the back end. But we can only see on the night, and things change.
As I mentioned earlier on, he's mentioned the likes of a Chris Billam-Smith, Cesardo Ramirez, who reportedly are in talks for a potential fight in November between themselves. But do you feel like Jai's somewhat overlooking you? Do you feel that at all?
I don't think he will be. I don't. Yeah, I think you obviously talk about these fights. You do these interviews and whatever, and people ask the questions. But I don't think he'll. I don't think he's. I think he's too smart to be overlooking. You can't overlook anyone in this game, no matter where they are in their career and who they are. So he's got to where he is because he's a good fighter and he's got a good team behind him, and he's smart. So I don't think he'll be looking past me. He knows he's got a tough night ahead of him, and so yeah, I don't think he'll make that mistake. Well, I hope he doesn't anyway.
I mean, you hope he doesn't, or you hope he does. So
Well, I
it
hope he does.
works in
So
your
yeah,
favour, yeah. Jack, something else you mentioned earlier on is kind of your activity. Now you're going into this fight, two fights already under your belt this year. You mentioned some good rounds there with Isaac Chamberlain, who's very well respected on the British scene. Um,
yeah.
how crucial do you feel like those two fights, this period of activity, will be going into October?
Oh, massively. Like I was just saying, that activity is key, and you watch certain fighters and when they're fighting all the time, they're fighting 3 to 4 times a year, and then they get these shots. It's massively important, and to have those 12 rounds under my belt, in a good tough fight, it's I really really needed that. Do you know what I mean? And because in that last fight, I felt a little bit of ring rust. I switched off halfway through the fight, and I could feel the ring rust and feel the inactivity and little bits like that. So going into this fight, I won't have any of that in the back of my mind, or I won't be feeling any of them feelings. So yeah, it's massively important.
Is it difficult not to look into the future if October 12th was to play out in your favour? kind of how life changing that could be?
Oh, it's massively, it changes my life, my family's life, and it's win this fight, you're writing your own checks, aren't you? And that's what it's all about. We're putting our health on the line. We need rewards in this game, and that's what it's all about. And I want to live comfortably after I retire and have a comfortable life with my family, and that's mostly what it's about for me. And win this fight, and I know when I've got an opportunity, and this is the biggest opportunity of my career. These things don't come around too often, so I know what I've got in my hands here and what I need to do, and I'm going to give it my all in camp and in the fight.
Jack, I appreciate your time now. I'm gonna leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for jumping on with me. Good luck with the rest of camp, and I'm
Thanks,
sure we'll catch up soon. Thank you.
top man. Thanks, mate.